Hey y'all, it's Jenny. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about a common error that I've seen in a lot of people's works cited list. And it is how you cite journal articles that you have found online. And this is a really complex process because when you're looking at a page, like I've got one pulled up here for a journal article in my sort of research area. And if I look at this, there's a whole bunch of information here, and it can be a little bit challenging to figure out what goes where. So the first thing I'm going to do is open up a new Google Doc. I just prefer Google Docs over Microsoft Word. It doesn't really matter which one you're using when you're writing your paper, but this is where I'm going to start working on building my citation. And I also, you might see, have the OWL at Purdue pulled up. I really like the OWL at Purdue and their examples, especially for MLA style. So I'm going to pull up their page about citing electronic sources. So I'm going to scroll through because they have a whole bunch of different kinds of examples here. And you actually, I have my screen really kind of skinny, so it kind of looks weird, you may notice. So I am looking for, in this case, an article in an online scholarly journal. That's what I'm looking for. Most of the time, you can use either one of these. They're very similar, the examples they have. Now, if you've gotten an article from a database, chances are through that database, you may have gotten a citation already. But here is an example below of what that would look like, depending on the database that you got it from. So I'm actually going to go ahead and let's use this example up here. And this is how I often build my citations if I am not using a citation generator. So if I go ahead and paste this example in here, it missed my hanging indent, so I am going to go ahead and go under Format, Align Indent, Indentation Options, Hanging, and click Apply. So this is kind of generally what I want my citation to look like. The font doesn't really matter too much. You're going to want to put it in whatever font your paper is in. Often that's going to be Times New Roman. But what I want to do at this point is I want to start looking at my article here and figuring out which pieces match up with which sections of my example. So I see that I have two authors listed here on my article, Julia Bowder and Catherine Rod. So what I'm going to do here is put them in order. And you want to put them in the order that you see them listed on the article, because usually that order is based on their level of contribution to the article in most disciplines. So Julia Bader, or Bader, comma Julia, and Catherine Rod. So for our second author, we don't have to do that last name, first name. Okay, this part of my example is the title of the article. So I'm going to come here. And I'm going to just copy and paste for now and show you what I would do at this point. So one of the differences that you'll see between the example and what I have here is that my example is showing the title in sentence case, which is an APA convention, and we're using MLA. So we want our title actually to be in what's called title case, where every important word is capitalized. And one of the things I like that's a nice little shortcut in Google Docs here is that I can, I want to say under text, go to capitalization and change it to title case. Now we can then decapitalize unimportant words. So and the, and they also did something weird here with ACRL, which is an acronym. So took me just a minute there to kind of tighten that up so that it looks more like my example. There's a period after the title and before the quotation marks that end the title. In their example up top, Social Work and Society is the name of the journal. So I'm going to go back here and figure out the name of the journal. And in this case, this is from Taylor and Francis is the name of the publisher. And on their journals, they have this little box kind of thing right here where they'll say journal and then give you the name as well as the volume, issue, and year. So the name of this journal is College and Undergraduate Libraries. So I'm just going to put that in. and I see there's a comma after the title in my example, and I also see that the title of the journal is in italics. So the title of the article is not italicized, but the title of the journal is. Okay, so now I'm looking for volume number, which is the same thing as issue, and then year. So I have that back over here. I saw it right under here. So volume 23, number or issue 3, 2016. Okay, so volume 23. Did I get that right? Okay, volume 23, number 3, and I'm using their same abbreviations like they have above, 2016, comma. And if I am just using it like in this format here, where I could potentially just kind of like read down the whole thing, I could leave off page numbers. But chances are I'm going to be trying to get a PDF, which means that I do need to have page numbers. So let's look at an example here that does include our page number. So here's one below it. And so that just comes as a comma after the date. So I'm going to do PP for pages, and it's 252 to 264. So just 252 to 264. And then a period, or sorry, a comma, and then I'm going to put either a DOI if my article has one, and this one does, it's right here, or a link. And you can do either one in MLA style. It's pretty flexible, but I'm just going to go ahead and copy this as is on here, and I'm going to paste that in. Technically in MLA style, you leave off this protocol, the HTTPS. So I'm going to do that, but again, for the most part, that's not going to matter too much. It's not making a difference in being able to find the source. Their example has an access date. Access date is actually not required in the manual. They really only indicate that you should definitely include an access date if there's no date for the source. But we do have a date for the source. We know it's from 2016. So now I've sort of tried to parse what's on this page here into a citation that matches an example from a source I trust, in this case, the OWL at Purdue. So I am going to now, final touches here, I am going to go to that format, I am going to go to align and indent, indentation options, and hanging, and apply. And now this looks pretty great. It is pretty much exactly like this one up here, except that I have purposely left off this access date because I don't think I need it. Now, I'm always happy to help you with your citations. I have offered to several folks already, and I want to offer to everyone that I would be happy to look at your citations if you can get them to me by November 16th, which is the Monday before this final draft is due. If you can get me your citations, your works cited list, your whole paper, however you want to do it, you can get that to me by November 16th, and I can give you citation feedback. It won't be writing feedback, but it will be citation feedback. And that reminds me of one last thing I wanted to show you here, which is how I would cite this within my text. So if I decided I wanted to use a quote from this article, let's say there was something really great that they said, or if I wanted to paraphrase, either way, you're still going to want to do an in-text citation. My in-text citation in MLA style is going to look like this: Bowder and Rod, space, and then whatever page number I'm citing if it's a specific quote. So let's just imagine I'm getting something from page 256. And there we go. So that's what my in-text citation would look like. I want to point this out because another thing that I've seen a lot is in-text citations that only include the first author. You really want to make sure that you're giving all authors credit. So if there are two, you would do Bowder and Rod. If it were three, you would do Bowder et al. And again, if you have questions about that, please do let me know. But I hope this has been helpful in terms of how to kind of shape your citations and build your citations for things that you have found on a journal website online, or even through the libraries, but not through one of our traditional databases. One last thing I'll show you here, and I'm going to copy that DOI again, is a citation generator that I do like. It's not a perfect citation generator, but it is one that I like that helps me kind of get things started. And you can paste in a DOI or a URL. And this is actually something that can help me get things started. So this, I already had this set so that it would be an MLA 8th edition, which is what we are using. You can see I've got some other kind of random stuff in here. But I could copy this and again, then compare it to this Dolby example that I have from the OWL at Purdue. But what I could do at that point is I could see there's something kind of random in here, this doi.org cross-ref. I would just take that out because it doesn't match up with the example that I have. And that is, I think, the last thing I wanted to mention. So again, please feel free to email me if you have any questions, particularly if you want me to look at your citations. Let me know and have those to me by November 16th so that I can give you feedback in time to integrate that feedback before your final draft is due. Thank y'all.